I didn't tell you that.
This show carries a government health warning.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's a brand new day.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
Now prepare to experience the most outrageous man on radio.
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
Good morning.
Why do you think your own survival depends upon emotion from us? Should we pity you? Empathize with your plight?
Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road.
But each of them subservient to that monitor in his brain, that intruder which instructs, coordinates, protects the project.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And thank you to Rob Tattoo, the great producer, engineer, man about town, the debonair, the debona, hey, the Robberoony. The Robberoony. And I realize nobody knows what I'm talking about except he and someone else. And perhaps that person he's living with down there in the Ozarks. You living in the Ozarks, man? And how you been doing with the all this crazy tornadic weather down there? Whee. Anyway, happy Cinco de Mayo. And thanks, Rob, for sending in the stuff. It is appreciated. Everyone here is very and truly grateful.
Brilliant!
As always. So, this show has nothing to do with a meat lover's pizza. Look at that thing. I actually ate that. People go through the motions like things are normal. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. I don't think I ate the whole thing, but I ate a lot of that. That's how when I used to hang out. That's from the old Ironwood. In fact, speaking of Tattoo, he was there. He DJ'd once there for a short spell. Just clowning around. We were just up. He was visiting. Cinco de Mayo. It's like, we should be having our margaritas and our limes and our Coronas. That kind of thing. Dos Equis. All that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm game. Anybody wants to join me, come on over. I got some beer in the fridge and ingredients to make a killer salsa. Fresh cilantro in the garden. If you like it very cilantro-y. I never used to like cilantro that much. I mean, I wasn't overwhelmed by it. Like a pinch of it was fine, but I've grown. It's one of those herbs or spices, whatever you want to call it, that I've grown to appreciate, particularly fresh from the garden. Anyway, so
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
for those who want an update, since this is the morning vlog of Tony Caravan Live, ay caramba. It rained yesterday. As I said in yesterday's show, it had rained the night before, but I had figured a way. It kept raining. So I had figured out, a friend of mine came down and brought me a measuring cup. You know how small measuring cups are, right? I mean, it was the best she could do. It was like this big. It's like, she was passing through the area and brought me a measuring cup. $2 from the dollar store. And I very much appreciate it. But could you imagine taking a measuring cup and like scooping water and filling a bucket, scooping water and filling a bucket? It's kind of like that Greek Grecian urn thing, the old Greek fable thing about the bird that none of the birds could get the water because they couldn't get their beak down the Grecian urn. But one figured he would put a pebble in and then another pebble in and then another pebble in. And eventually the water level raised high enough for that bird to get a drink, And I guess there's a lot of morals that could be taken from that. Lessons to be learned. Patience, dedication, hard work pays off, all that stuff. Well, anyway, I kind of felt like that bird yesterday, though. There really was no payoff other than a, pain in my back. And, I filled a bucket and a half of water with a little thing. Finally, I go, this is crazy. This is insane. So I take this, 1995 siphon pump that runs on 2 D-sized batteries downstairs. I'm going, maybe I could fix the motor or something. I don't know. So I go down to my mud room where I have a pair of pliers and some other things. And I'm thinking, well, maybe the thing's just blocked or clogged or something. And sure enough, I was able to pull off the end of it. And there's a little propeller there, like on the back of a boat or something. And it was jammed with a piece of hardened caulking. I guess that it fell down from the roof in my ungodly looking patch, of that roof, which is really insane if you think about it. I mean, I'll show you a picture just for the sake of, the absurdity of it. Let's see. Let's go to attic. I know I must have a picture of one of them that's just so insane that, it doesn't border on madness. It is madness. There's got to be a picture. Pardon me while I might not have saved it out of sheer embarrassment, though. There's very few things that embarrass me at this point. I can't believe it. I don't have a picture of the roof. Method. I do have a picture here of the pump that I could show you, though. Me looking like a goof with it. I kind of look like Woody Allen a little bit. It's just a tiny little thing, Anyway, so, I fixed it, put the batteries in, and it started to work. So I was able to finish the job of getting the water out. It's supposed to be okay today, which we may as well. Today's Cinco de Mayo. Let's call this
Weekend weather.
We'll give it an extended forecast because it's a holiday, I mean, I don't know who you are, but call in sick. It's Cinco de Mayo, man. It's a freaking holiday. Anyway, it's currently 52 degrees here in the mid-Atlantic states. It's May 4th, obviously. Cinco de Mayo, that's what it means. It's a Thursday, 5:27 a.m. If I didn't say that, the calendar year is 2022, and it's a merry month of May. April showers bring May flowers, man. Anyway, 52. Today's supposed to be a high of 70 degrees. There's a sun behind the clouds. As always, maybe the sun will come out. We'll get a little whatever. 55 for the overnight. Friday, your weekend. 100% chance of rain tomorrow. Oh, joy. 100% chance of rain. 48 overnight. Saturday, 80% chance of rain. Basically, it's going to rain all day. 52 degrees for the high, so it's going to be cool and rainy. And overnight, 41. Ooh, that means down ground level, we could get close to frost. Sunday, 20% chance of rain, but all clouds according to this. 55. Monday, it's showing sun, but, you could never believe that far. Anyway, that's the
Weekend weather.
little time delay going on there, Yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't know.
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
So I put all kinds of rat traps, potato flakes, dried potato box of dried potato flakes, a mixture of baking soda, flour with a little bit of sugar in a container with a hole that a rat could climb in. Oh, by the way, I mentioned my concrete. I thought it was going to turn into gray goo. It didn't. It held up. Concrete and rain. As long as you let it set up, I'm just saying, anecdotally, at least 12 hours. And this was just standard Quickcrete. It wasn't the fast, whatever. And I mixed it a little bit wet, as opposed to mixing it dry. Because I had to mix it wet because I had to like kind of get it into like some nooks and crannies and stuff where these tiny little rats are. They're cute as anything. So I tried the humane thing, though I did have to put a few traps at. But that big rat is a mean mother, Anyway, no traps set off. I saw the mean Mr. Big Rat running around like a lunatic, and I saw a couple of little rats going to the thing. I did get one scare later yesterday when I was looking out my second floor window towards the backyard, and I saw the one rat kind of crawling on the other side of the gardeny side, like working its path up. I don't like that. So today I'm going to go work out in the garden. Does that answer your question? Yeah. It's going to be a full work day, get my exercise in. I didn't do much yesterday, but, drain water. This detective's hat, I'm wearing. There's the trucks. Both ways. Look at them. The size of some of those trucks, they're like, they're like the full 18-wheelers filled with coal, It's insane, But, yeah, I'm just going to keep at it, what can I say? So, yeah. Look at that. We're talking about a meat lover's pizza. I mean, I guess what they are is those aren't meatballs. They look like meatballs. They're like sausage, pieces of sausage, pepperoni. You can see how greasy the whole thing is. It's like just, that was like served on the counter in front of me at the bar at the Ironwood. And you could see we got a couple slices, hurriedly cut out because, I don't know, whoever was with me at the time. But I'm like, wait, don't eat them yet. Let's take a picture for the magazine. I was putting out a magazine, Dining and Entertainment magazine. So they used to send me this give me this free food, and I'd sit at the bar. No wonder I ended up with all kinds of medical complications. This is like over 10 years ago. I guess after a few beers on Cinco de Mayo, I could go for, I don't know if I could go for that. I mean, that's just too much. I mean, that's like, they say there's so much meat you can eat. It almost looks like there's some prosciutto or something in there as well. I don't know if you can see these little, it could just be pieces of pepperoni. But yeah, Cinco de Mayo. I used to be like, any excuse for a holiday, it was like, okay, make the graphics for it, whether it was at some place that I was, doing work for, or whether it was for my own personal bar and it was just a couple of us sitting there, there'd always be the napkins, the holiday napkins for whatever holiday it was, the drink that was, appropriate for the holiday or the day, right? All that kind of stuff. I get into that kind of stuff. I still would. It's just there's nobody around, just me. Me and my cat. I tried to sneak a little bit of the powdery microbiome stuff in. I don't know if he's going to finish it off. I didn't put a lot in. It was real fishy stuff. I could have probably put more, shoulda probably put more in. But he ate all of his dry food that the vet recommended, some kind of special digestive stuff, and he's getting this cat water, which I'm hoping is legitimate. Legit, as some people say. I never liked that term, but you know. But so his system seems to be working, so we just hope, you know, that he can, like I say, the reason I don't mind giving him some of this crazy food on top of that is I'm just trying to fatten him up, you know, get some protein and fat, crude fat in him, in his body. And I've, you know, got some catnip around, and I've got this spray catnip I bought, which I bought for the yard, but I sprayed some of his toys because that's what it's really made for, is you spray his toys with catnip so he gets more active. Because it's not a matter of just getting him some weight, but getting him to like move around more and play a little bit with the muscles and that stuff. Though he has to go up and down these steep stairs a couple times a day. So it's not like this is some ranch house. You know what I mean? So he's getting that exercise up, his leg exercise up and down the stairs a couple times a day. He's got to jump up to his perch to look out his window and that kind of thing. Okay, well, anyway, that's enough of it.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
So, now, on with the show. So, I don't know. I was just thinking, as always, this morning before I came down, what would be, you know, these. I would just wing these things. It's all flow of consciousness. I mean, obviously, Cinco de Mayo, what kind of theme can you have but a bunch of people crossing the border, you know? I mean, I don't know. I mean, run for the border. That used to be an ad in California for one of the places. I don't know if it was El Pollo Loco, right? It's a big chain. It's a chain out there. It's like, means the crazy chicken, I think. And, you know, pretty good food. El Pollo Loco. No, I think that was Head for the Border was some national chain thing doing something. Some other something that didn't have anything to do with Mexico in particular. But yeah, I guess it's a you know, a 4-day weekend for those you know, from south of the border here in the U.S. and a couple of million that lucked out just came in over the border, right? Collecting, you know, whatever you do. There was one other thing I was going to play. I can't really, I forget where it is. I put some of my videos yesterday, uploaded to Odyssey. And I'm assuming they're there. Odyssey is some kind of blockchain tied into crypto. Like there's all this stuff, blockchain, crypto stuff going on. And it's kind of the thing that everyone's getting into right now, you know? And apparently even the Federal Reserve is going to get into some kind of crypto thing probably in a year or so. They want to get rid of cash altogether, you know. It's fiat currency, but they want to like they just want it to be like fiat, you know, cloud money, you know, something like that. I don't know how the bankers are going to feel about that necessarily though. Like, I'm not sure exactly how the implementation of that would be, you know, for people who have money in the bank, you know. Like, a lot of these things sometimes I think are, you know, they talk about, the, you know, implementation on a longer term. You know, it's that whole idea in the future. I've got this like thing. There it is. My Exacto. Geez, I only have 2 blades left. Oh no, that's not even the thing I'm looking for. What I was looking for is the blades for that other kind, that one that you could click the end off and you get a sharp one each time. And I know I had a pack of those. I can't believe I'm out of it. But I find that quite handy, handier than the standard box cutters. And I have a lot of boxes because, you know, I do get stuff delivered out in the garage, and it's stuff over the winter. You know, the garage is closed and it's damp and it snowed and it's not exactly, you know, hermetically sealed, and it's certainly not heated. So it's very humid. I wouldn't even call it musty. It's like I just got to throw all that stuff away. And what I have to do is I have to cut down a lot of these things, crush a bunch of stuff, and fill about 3 or 4 trash bags, which I don't have. I screwed up. I had a chance to go to the Dollar Tree because I don't want to pay more than, you know, you could buy like 5 or 6 bags, trash bags, real cheap trash bags, like 1 ply for $1. But that's what I want. Just something I could lay out in the sidewalk here. You know, inside's just crushed cardboard, stuff that would, you know, so my garage is fresher, and I got room to walk or move around and start use it as a, you know, as a garden, you know, garden prep room, as a place to store things, as a workshop, you know, that kind of thing. Because right now it's just filled with, you know, it's a mess. It's just filled with all kinds of crap. So anyway, that's something else I have to do. Man, there's a lot of this.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Sorry, you know, just catching up on stuff. But, you know, that subtitle that I have here, people go through the motions like things are normal. And, you know, another word for that would be, you know, the zombification of, you know, of America and, you know, Western civilization in general. I mean, people under dictators, you know, a lot of those people either become, you know, accept the programming and act robotically, or they're, you know, they live lives of quiet desperation, you know, because the authoritarian state, you know, see, that's the thing people don't realize. You cannot fight totalitarianism in the modern world. You see? You know, there's no such thing, you know, in other words, the U.S., we had, you know, a King George back in the old days, you know, the American Revolution, okay? And, you know, these guys weren't as powerful, you know, their weaponry, you know, was not like anything compared to what we have now. And it's the same with the, you know, just their redcoats, you know, their enforcement people who were the first ones to unfortunately suffer by the colonists, you know, be people saying no, you know, defiance, right? I'm not going to do that, right? You know, 5 guys in red coats carrying these muskets, right? Weird, you know, costumes, guys walking down the street, and a bunch of, you know, regular, you know, irregulars, right? Going like, get lost, man, right? And these guys didn't know what to do, or they do like, oh, grab their musket and start putting something in there. Well, by the time they did that, these guys just like, you know, punched them out, you know. But today it's like, you know, laser sonic weaponry, and these guys come at you. They're stormtroopers, you know, on like, you know, on the scale of the Terminator, right? So as they turn this country slowly into a totalitarian state, and in some areas, many areas, I would argue, there's not a darn thing you can do about it. There's no political. So some people still think there's some political solution. The thing is, no, we tried that, over the years. Didn't work, right? They basically have control of everything. They control things, and there's true believers out there that believe in some of the most fantastical things, as if there's it's like, no, you have no idea. There are millions of people, millions of government bureaucrats, okay? Millions. All right? And you see these rallies go on to save America and stuff like that. And you see these big crowds, and stuff with people coming out. But, in the aggregate, okay, half these people, I would say, well, not even half, 2/3 of those people are not going to even speak truth to power. There's people don't want to lose their Facebook or Twitter accounts, let alone, you know what I mean? It's just not happening. It's not the way it was. This isn't medieval days, even though they're turning it into like a neo-feudalist society, totalitarian state. No, it's a 21st century nightmare, okay? Do you understand?
This is a nightmare. It must be a nightmare.
It's like,
Back in time, 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 back in time.
I mean, that's what they're doing. They're taking us back in time. I'm going. But they're taking us back in time, but it's like with weaponry. They have this weaponry. They have this, they're in charge of stuff. And then they have the total I was talking about yesterday. They have this total information awareness. So they've got it down to predictive behavior. And you're like, they don't know what I'm thinking. I'm going, yeah, they do. Yes, they do. And yes, my eyes aren't completely open. It is still 5:46 a.m. I could have stayed in bed longer. The cat was bothering me. I'm glad I did get up when I did, because his food was all gone, and I wanted to make sure if he's hungry, I want to make sure he gets food. I say, we got to get him back, get some weight on that thing. So people are just going through the motions and living life. They're ordering a meat lover's pizza, right? There are people who are going to celebrate Cinco de Mayo today, or maybe after work, whatever, and drink some margaritas. And like I say, some nice, brewskis with limes and, the music, the whole 9 yards. There goes the 10 to 6 bus. He's leaving a little early. He's 2 minutes early. What if somebody was late, getting there, running to the bus stop? Guy had no right. He should have stayed and waited. Imagine if you had to get to work, or you had to get somewhere, or an appointment, or a medical thing, or something weird like that. And you get there, and it's like, you're 2 minutes, you made it within 2 minutes. You're like thinking, oh, good, I made it. And the bus pulled away. Didn't see you. Got to wait an hour. And by then, it's like too late. Microphone noise. But, so that's the thing. And you know what? What's so wrong, for the people out there who are basically saying, who cares, right? And what does it really matter, if this is life under totalitarianism, I'm fine. Here, toast. Let's toast to the, that Steely Dan song, raise up your glass to good King Richard. Whatever that song. And I think it was about Nixon, though. I think that's what they meant, good King Richard, all these people that just like get into, comedy and politics and, using the arts and entertainment for, for political means, they don't solve any problems at all. In other words, I was always against what they call political humor and political satire and all that kind of stuff. Because it seemed to me it was very cheap, really cheap. Because you didn't have to come up with something unique. These guys literally look and see what's on, what are they talking about on the news, what's happening here, blah, blah, blah. And and it's the same old story. So they have their classic, Orange Man bad and these different people, and it's just the same old thing. It just gets boring. That's why I don't watch them, number one. But I mean, anytime I have encountered it, secondhand by someone putting a clip up within a clip or something, I'm going like, man, you're no comic. You didn't come up with something unique. I mean, there's people that came up with some real unique stuff over the years. If you look in the golden age of comedy type of stuff, I mean, these people were like, they were out there, And it's like today, it's like, these guys come out and they do a monologue on these late night shows, and it's like some political tirade against their political foes. And the audience is like laughing, ha, 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 ha. And I'm like, okay, congratulations, right? Congratulations. But that's the thing. People are just going through the motions of life, and they have no idea that it's all, they're whittling away at everything. It's just about gone. In some areas, it's just about gone. The world we knew is just about gone. But like I say, fortunately, this country is so big, so vast, and there are so many little pockets, of places that their tentacles haven't reached, that, there's still a sense of normalcy in those areas, somewhat. Though, as I've spoken in previous shows, so much has disintegrated, societally wise, community wise, so that we're really no longer. They were successful in destroying communities, the social interaction, and they replaced it with this cyborg, concept. Have the cell phone with you at all times. Be connected, right? Connectivity, right? Elon Musk's Starlink, right? Like as if that's a good deed. He's providing internet service to people who normally couldn't get internet service. So what? Lucky them for not having it, right? What do you need it for? What do you need it for?
Why do you think your own survival depends upon emotion from us? Should we pity you? Empathize with your plight?
That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, so my whole preoccupation, is I don't know, sevenfold. Yeah, I'm laughing at myself, man. I don't know. You guys get it?
Really funny. Really funny.
I watch some of these things back, and especially the first part of the show when I'm half awake, and I'm going like, the guy almost seems like he's drinking or something, you know, because I'm just half groggy, and the way my voice sounds until till the coffee's just about done, unfortunately. But if I drank any more, I'd be like, ding, you know. But yeah, you know, yeah, I've got sevenfold. So I'm still out there, Tony versus the frickin' rat. So I got to clean up a couple portions of my yard that I haven't messed with, which means using a rake and getting the gloves, these gloves on, and picking up this stuff and putting, I wish I don't have, I have some bags. I have some trash bags. It's like I could, man. No, I'm not going to do it. I don't so-called get paid until next Wednesday, and today's Thursday. So I get 6 days, right? Normally, because I think the Dollar Tree actually delivers, like through Instacart. They're on the list. So I'd literally be able to put in an order and get like cheap trash bags. And there's some other things I needed from them. I forget what they are offhand. I wrote them down somewhere. I was telling somebody the other day I had forgotten to get some things. But whatever the case may be, I would love to put in a like $10. I mean, the person picking the stuff up wouldn't be too happy, you know, but just like I don't even know if I have $10. Yeah. I went and I'm such a budget, like, you know, control person. I mean, I've shown this before. It's always hard to bring up, but there it is. This time it came up right away. Monthly budget. It's in my latest book that you should get. And that doesn't mean to say that my life isn't still a surrealistic nightmare. But, you know, I'm very budget conscious, and I use this Apple program called Numbers. And that microphone noise that I'm moving around, I know that you're hearing that on your speakers, and I apologize. I noticed it yesterday when I was listening to the playback. The mic stand has become a little more pliable. Normally, I couldn't move it like that, but it's a good thing for me, but it's a bad thing for the ears. I apologize. So, yeah, I was so precise in ordering a bag of concrete. I needed a bag of soil for like to fill that rat hole cavity underneath the dwarf Christmas tree, which as of yesterday was still covered. A bag of rocks, 2 bags of rocks, and some various other ingredients like the traps, mouse traps, and all these other stuff, which were a complete waste of time and failure. But they were Dollar Tree items, so their combined cost was maybe $6 or $7. So that wasn't really that bad. Even with the fact that the Dollar Tree is now the $1.25 tree, you know. Why did they call it a tree? It's a store. It's not a tree. And so, you know, it's hard to clean up when you don't have a place to put it. It's nice to have a bag next to you. And I have like maybe 2 bags left, but they're those expensive bags. The ones I use when I take out my kitchen trash. You know, the ones with that, they have the multiply and they're flexible, but they're expensive. They're like $8 for a box of not that many. Sometimes maybe more. Could be $9. I don't want to use those for just yard trash, but I may end up doing it, just because. Look at that cold shock. Coloring looks kind of nice right now on my monitor. I don't know how it looks on yours. It's like this twilight hour. Those guys are working on that house yesterday. I hope they're going to do some kind of new stairway thing. I don't know if they're going to spend the money on that, though. One of the weaknesses, and you can't tell, and there's this weird light on that brick building next to it, like right in the upper right-hand corner, like as it takes the side. There's some weird lighted thing that almost looks like there's this window with a light on. That doesn't exist. Like, that's coming from somewhere, just like you can see. And I don't know where it is. It's a reflection from somewhere in this room that's like reflecting on my the window in which the camera is looking out on, just if you're curious. But I'll have to, assess the situation and see how many trash bags I have. If I have more than 2, that my nose is feeling like it's getting that clogged thing again, too. And then I may at least take 1 out and do this. And the purpose is to keep the rodent, at having no place to hide. So the thing's completely exposed. And the more exposed, these things don't want to be exposed because they have fears. Fears of birds and predators. There are predators for them. And I told you I got this spray that's catnip spray. And I not only planted catnip flowers, and I got some catnip seedlings at the nursery on that same trip, that quick run I made the other day when I got the soil and all that other stuff I mentioned. And so I'm going to be planning, first I'll put them in my greenhouse. I'll try to get them bigger. So, they're not just one cat munch down. But my goal is, I think there might be 6 or so in that little thing. I'll separate those into individual plants because I have enough soil now. I even got some seed starter too, so I'm going to start some of my summer crops. Our last frost date here, according to the book, right, is usually the second week of May, which is next week, obviously, which is around the 11th or 12th. So next week, I should be able to put like some peppers and tomatoes in the ground. I have some stuff growing. I don't have many, but I have a few. First day of summer, June 21st, was hot and humid last year. That's nice. Both May 18th and 19th were 80s and sunny. Bought some squash. I planted some squash seeds and covered them with seed starter and burlap. I did that like 2 days ago and put these things around them. That's where I saw the rat running around, but it kind of just passed through there. But yeah, I have a thing here you can see. I'll hold it up if you can read it. Frost warnings, May 10, 11, 12. That was last year. But May 14th, planting tomatoes and peppers and flowers. Also did porch boxes. I forgot about that. I have these 3 boxes on my porch that I usually put, some stuff in. So one of them, there's one I usually put some herbs in so I could just quickly go out the front porch and grab like some things I put when I used to make a lot of soups and stuff or pastas, and I'd like have oregano and basil like right there at my reach. And those things just keep growing. You take a couple of leaves off and they grow back pretty quick. And I have some basils already, seedlings. Oregano, I got so much oregano, it's crazy. It's just kind of scary. I need to get one of those salad spinner. I gave it away to a friend of mine who's been very helpful, and I'm not about to ask for it back. It was a big one, and they needed it. So they call those things salad spinners. It was a giant-sized one anyway. I need just something small, just for one person. I mean, my salad bowl. I don't need something to feed a family. Getting down to the bottom, this is it. It says 4 cups on there. I don't know if you could read that. Yeah, you see the 4? I'll put it towards the black. Let's see if I get it. See that? Max 5. But the thing is, it's not really, you didn't really get, I mean, and this is not a giant cup, So I guess it's technically cups, but it's not like a coffee mug, 4 mugs of coffee. So I'm really only drinking like 2. I figure the equivalent of like 2 cups of coffee in the morning is what I have. Though it's on the strong side, but I'm used to it. But yeah, back to this people going through the motion. And the reason I chose this Meat Lover's Pizza is that, there's so many things in life that people are doing that they're just, taking their eye off the ball. And, and I've often said that, why not? Just live your life, survive and thrive, and turn off, ignore the media. And so, those are the smart ones. And maybe that is and that is the theme of this show. So I'm not criticizing those that are walking around as if nothing's happening. I have this idea that basically that be aware of the absurdity of it all, right? That's my thing. Be aware of it. But don't let it overtake you, and don't be obsessed with it, and don't let it depress you and ruin your life. And if you're caught up in a situation where you are so controlled by the state, so to speak, the totalitarian state, these authoritarians, then get the hell out of there, man. Get my book and make that list, use that worksheet page where you can, things you like, things you don't like, and whatever, and make those lists and make sure that everything you got, get your life together, because you just got to live, it's, like I was saying before about, there's a lot of people talking about things and they keep talking about in the future, or like, here's technology that's coming along and we're going to be doing this and doing that. And it's like, the future never really comes. It's kind of like,
The future. He came from the future.
But it's not really. It's like
back in time, 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 back in time.
Yeah, that's what it really is. It's like we're back in time. People have been talking about the future for a long time. Yeah, we got a smartphone. We got some new chips, and, cars are all full of technology and stuff now. But you know what? They break down. When those computer things break down, man, it's right in the shop, man. There's nothing you can do about it. And the way they shove everything in there, I know somebody who's going through a problem with like a water pump or something, and because of how everything's like so like congested in, under the hood, it's like $1,000 to fix it, but it's mostly labor. because they have to literally just like dismantle most of the stuff to get at this thing and replace it. But the part itself might be half that price, if that. Right? And I remember my car opening up the hood, and it was like, could see basically everything. I mean, unless you had to get underneath the, like, if you were like type of person that changed your own oil, opened up, get down there with a wrench, change your oil filter, drain your oil, that kind of thing. Or something else, unless you're fixing a muffler or something. Trying to, deal with that whole system. That was a pain. But otherwise, most things that dealt with the engine, spark plugs and, batteries, air filters, carburetors, points, your distributor cap, all that kind of stuff, all your fluids and stuff. I mean, it was just really easy access, easy to see what was there, keep it clean, belts, you could change a belt. I mean, the radiator was accessible. It's just, but forget that. Those days are gone forever. And a lot of things are like that. They're just gone forever. And you can't lament over that kind of thing. You just have to move forward. So I don't blame people that are, going to if they could find some place that's having a Cinco de Mayo happy hours after work today, or, starting early in the afternoon, you leave early, go ahead, just go. Enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend type of thing. Start an early weekend. And there's, like I said before, there's nothing worse than these like megalomaniacs, politicians and media personalities, even celebrities. You know what they can't stand? They can't stand people ignoring them, right? They live for like adulation, I had that one with like the big applause, but I mean you ever see their faces when it's like applause? Like even sometimes if it's in a movie and it's like, it's in a scene that they're playing somebody who's getting applause, you could still look at the expression on their face and see that how it's like hitting them different than it would necessarily hit the average person. Like they need that adulation. They need that applause. Right? And the worst thing in the world is to be not recognized, right? Or not paid attention to. Bad ratings, right? Like some of these cable channels. They have the lowest ratings, like they have no idea how few people watch them. But not enough people push that. And I went on a big thing about that last year. I used to be on it all the time. And when I was on Twitter, it was like 2 years ago when I was like big time daily, dealing with that. That used to be my ongoing thing. And I used to have memes and everything. And I would go to the weekly, whatever, the overnight ratings and stuff. Then they started hiding them or wanted you to pay for the ratings and stuff because I guess they were on to it, how it was exposing, that their audiences were so small. But see, what the thing is that it's like the pundits, the people who criticize these extremists in the media, the problem is they're the ones that have created the monster. And they continue to prop them up. Every time one of these YouTube millionaires, as I call them, puts up a thing from the Washington Post or from, one of these cable networks or TV channels, some website, political website. Anytime they post that up and then them and their little friends sit around and like giggle and laugh and try to make fun of it or poke holes in it, what they don't understand is they're giving like their credence to the station itself, to the media, because they're legitimizing it. They're criticizing the story, but they're still legitimizing by acknowledging that this came from such and such a paper, channel, website, whatever, social media, tweet, instead of just ignoring it. And this goes back to where I was talking about comedy and how cheap it is, political humor and that kind of stuff, how a lack of creativity among these people. They just don't have the idea. See, I haven't mentioned any specific thing. Right? I'm just talking here off the top of my head, flow of consciousness, right? I mean, this is like a totally original show, right? That's Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, that's the topical thing, a meat lover's pizza. What the? Right? People are looking at that like, what the? And you notice I have no viewers. So you think someone, out of curiosity, you understand how they hide this show. Out of 2 billion active users on YouTube, right? You mean nobody out of curiosity just clicked on that meat lover's pizza, right? Impossible. 2 billion users. Like I said, you could win you have better odds, winning the lottery. That's how are giving themselves away. Right? Buying a rub-off ticket and winning $15,000, 5 times. Get buying 5 tickets and getting and winning like $100,000. Every ticket's a winner. That's at least I should be to show how. There's no way I could have 0 views, right? Unless it's literally being hidden. But it's also original, 100% original. And I've got all this branding and this clothing line and the 50 songs and the 10 books and the 600 some shows. I mean, sound like a broken record. And yeah, none of these guys have anything close to that. All they have is like, hey, today, look what we found on such and such's website. Look at the tweet such and such tweeted. And then they do, they do a whole show on that, which, maybe lasts 18 minutes. And they get 137,000 views. And they make money on that. And they're, like I say, they're making hundreds of thousands, if not over the course of the year, YouTube millionaires. And they've done nothing. No original content. And then they end up, buying all this stuff and living this life, and they get the expensive chairs. I got a 20-year-old chair. It's falling apart, right? I got to do this to stand up straight. I got a $29.95 USB camera there. But it's original, man. It's original. It's an original idea. I'm showing you coal trucks going to a plant and how they're lying to you about your electric car running on. People think it actually runs on electricity via a battery, and that's like end of story. They don't know the battery's charged by coal or natural gas, and they have got this delusion, just total ridiculous idea that somehow in 7.5 years, it's gonna run on what? Windmills? There's no more room for windmills. They're all going to be done by then, right? Watch my windmill show, right? I explain that in detail. Show the windmill fails, right? Solar panels? Nope, not going to cut it. Not in the north, and the whole northern tier of the U.S., they've got a scam going on right now. Bill Gates is involved in. I talked about it in another show where they're put up this 100 million. I don't know. Could have been $100 billion. I don't know. And they're going to offer to certain people. I don't know how you luck out to be the person. But they're going to turn your house into a sustainable house. In other words, give you solar or, power, get rid of you, take out your gas furnace and all that kind of stuff. And I guess replace it with, sustainable. And then you pay a lease to them. And if you default on the lease, then they foreclose on your house and they own your property. But, I said, and I'll say it again because this ties into today's show, the subtitle anyway. You take a house like mine, there's not enough square footage on the roof, all right, for this to be a completely solar house, right? And in this area, and it was years ago, they put a tax on if you did have a wind, when windmills first came out, and I guess they did it for people living not in like neighborhoods like this, but people living a little further out. That if you had a windmill, there was like some kind of city tax on that. Where they tax your energy. It's like places in the Pacific Northwest where you're not allowed. Like rainwater is considered, it's owned by the utility, right? It's like, like Coca-Cola and places like that. Like in South America, these companies went down there and they bought the water rights. And that includes the rain. Can you imagine that? They don't talk about that stuff on the news, right? This is real stuff, reality. But like I say, there's millions and millions and millions of homes that just don't have the ability to run on this so-called sustainability. And that's why they say, oh, well, you just have to sacrifice. It's like when they were trying to say, like, they forget the meat lovers pizza. You need to eat. They want the pizza like that to be covered with bugs. Now, I know that grosses you out. But remember that whole thing? You haven't heard that talked about in a while. But people need to eat bugs. And they were showing these people were like having YouTube or like Twitter things where they're showing them eating bugs. Like as if we're going to have to like eat bugs. Now, I don't really care because, to be honest with you, that doesn't look that inviting to me. I mean, the pepperoni does. It's but yeah. But, it's to make a point, So, yeah, I know. Here we go. I got a new,
Another hour.
You don't need a credit card. You don't need a 401k. You don't need shit.
Tony Caravan checking in with you.
How do I know that name?
Okay, engine stop. Tony Caravan checking in with you.
How do I know that name?
Let's kick his ass.
Get him!
What, don't you hear good?
The Eagle has landed.
Oh.
Stick around.
Did you hear that?
What?
Something on that tape when it ran backward.
You've been drinking.
What an odd and completely random thing to say.
Stick around.
What the fuck was that?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
yeah. That's another one. A tattoo sent me a couple of things. Another hour. Hour 2. Let's not forget.
This show carries a government health warning.
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Your papers, please.
But, this is continuing, gradually, too. That's like just bubbling under the news. There's so many other weird things going on. And I'm not into the news, but, I mean, it's Supreme Court stuff, and then the war, and, the usual politics, cult of personality stuff. It's an election year, all that garbage. It's like I ignore it. I'm aware of it, right? It's like that one guy says his head's on a swivel. I don't, it's kind of a weird expression, but it's like, I'm aware of what's going on all around me. But I sure as heck I'm going to sit here and talk about it and criticize it and laugh about it. And that's what I mean, the obsession with it. It's like you're best to just enjoy, right? Enjoy life. Cinco de Mayo, I'm lining things up. Is that some kind of weird thing? So, yeah, if you're fortunate enough to be someone like me who doesn't have a leaky roof and rodents in their backyard and other problems along the line, then just live life and be happy. And if you're fortunate enough to have some kind of community and friends and family around you, which I don't either, enjoy it and live it up. And if you've got a place to go, for Cinco de Mayo, go and have fun by all means. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy life. Enjoy life under the totalitarian regime. Why not? Right? So what I was trying to get into is this future thing. It's like everyone thinks that things will get better in the future, right? And that you must, even if you can't defeat the powers that be right now, that you have to do it for your, descendants, so to speak. And what I'm trying to say is that, when you have the collapse of Western civilization the way we have, excuse me, I don't see anyone, I can't find a valid argument against that. Western civilization has collapsed, all right? And this is the former United States. And I don't care if Elon Musk bought Twitter or what the heck you want to talk about. The fact of the matter is the First Amendment doesn't exist. This is no longer a constitutional republic by far. And even if people get a few, if the Supreme Court or some people in Congress get in there and they pass a few bills or change a few things around, rearrange things, musical chairs, you're not going to take away, 30 plus years of this millions and millions of bureaucrats who have tentacles everywhere, right down to the local level. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to build back better. That's why they got rid of that slogan. You're going to have little victories. You're going to little pockets of freedom and things like that. And that's why I always say enjoy that. And I'm all for it. And that's one of the reasons I originally moved here. You've got to take the bitter with the sweet. And I'm obviously experiencing primarily the bitter right now. But I've had a lot of the sweet, and I shouldn't really complain. I shouldn't complain. I've had some good years here. And maybe if I'm lucky, I'll have a few more good years here, in this, place. This house. I'm trying to just get motivated to do something other than drain buckets of water and go after rodents. You see, I mean, it's positive growing food, but I'm one person, I could almost have one tomato plant that if I really focused on, and probably even grow it in my greenhouse, my mini greenhouse, or create another mini greenhouse, or hoop house, people have those things, but it has to be plastic if I'm going to have to deal with this ongoing rodent thing. I don't think I'm going to win that war. You know what I mean? I think the best I'm going to do is like keep them at bay, best as possible. But it's like, yeah, I could create my food. And if there's food shortages like they're predicting and, all these other kinds of stuff, I still have my own place, and, yeah, I'll somehow survive. The idea is, it's health and happiness. You got to keep yourself healthy. That's important. I've been trying to do that. Happiness, well, that's relative, and that's, something that I don't know. I put in these Christmas lights to light my keyboard, and they died. And I'm wondering if it's a fuse. They give you that little pack, and there's a fuse in there. And it's like I've never really changed out a fuse, but something must have happened because they should be on now, and they're not. This is the second day they didn't turn on. But I know the wiring's right because I have a speaker powered on that same line. So I guess the takeaway from today's show is more of one of, yeah, there's a lot of people walking around as if nothing's really changed and things are going to, and the future's going to be bright or better, and the things they do will make a difference, and that their descendants, their children or grandchildren will have a better life. That sort of thing. And, and I'm saying that, and I wish you the best of luck. I don't wish to be negative and hope, have any kind of ill feelings or hope that you don't have that, your future bloodline doesn't have a better life than, I mean, that was the whole idea, one generation improving life for the one to follow. But all I've done is seen the quality of life for the average person go down. And I say it every show, it's like, the processed foods and stuff like that, they're just killing us. And they're killing kids, and the age of, the mortality rates dropped. And, so what chance do people have in the coming years? And then to live under a totalitarian state either way. Because, see, the problem is everyone has their pet issue. And so there's a lot of people right now going, okay, Supreme Court, go, yeah, we need to do that. It's like, okay, fine. And there's other people saying, okay, yeah, Elon Musk, go, Elon, go. Right? But nobody's saying anything about the 40,000 people a week being dying of preventable things because of the processed foods they buy in the supermarket. 95% of the products that are for sale are basically high carb, high sugar things that are just like wreaking havoc on your physique, right? They're just, and nobody's talking about the 2 million murders on average per week. These are all law enforcement statistics, CDC, leading causes of death statistics. You can go to the .gov sites and find these numbers. They have them annualized, but just divide it. If you want to know how I get weekly numbers, divide the annual deaths by 52 weeks, and you got a weekly number. And, and that's the problem. It's a selfishness, self-centeredness. And we know we have a self-centered society, a me, this, that, the other. And they've created this whole materialistic, idea and, show-offs on TikTok and Instagram and all that kind of crazy stuff. So, I don't know. I really don't see a lot of positivity in the longer term. I see short-term surviving and thriving. I mean, I'm going to try my darndest, and if I keep my health and I could have a few little victories with my roof and my yard, yeah, I will consider that, positive and a good thing. But beyond that, we have this runaway inflation. I don't see that coming down, And what do you do with all these people who still support all of this crazy stuff, who are brainwashed? The children, see, the young people have been indoctrinated. They're conditioned. They've been propagandized that they believe that, like, some trace gas is like, must be eliminated. They don't even understand, like, how the planet works. They don't know anything about the magnetic field and weather patterns and how the sun affects the entire solar system and what's going on. They're not aware of the uptick in volcanic activity and stuff like that. I have no idea what that truck with the flashing lights is. I guess it's the construction crew getting ready to set up. They're digging up the road for the 4th time. They haven't made it to the front of my house yet, but apparently they're coming up. I don't know if my house could withstand another one of those beatings. Like I say, the last time I had to hire a plumber because it shook the pipes in the basement so much that some of the older pipes had, like, the fittings had, had come apart. It's crazy. I see physical cracks. My concrete stairs leading to my porch are, like, in crappy shape. It's going to require major, both concrete and mortar, to, like, kind of like rebuild those stairs, kind of, almost. I have to rebuild them, but I mean, I'm going to have to, like, concrete areas. Then it's going to require 3 things, and it's going to cost me, I don't know. It's going to be a lot of labor, but I could probably do it for less than $100. But it's another $100. It's not my fault, right? It's like these rodents that happen because of this sewer job, right? They should have been aware of that, and they should have put down something to, like, deter those rodents or something. You know what I mean? There's things they could have done. I don't know. The city could have dealt with it. They should have went around and, the pest control. I mean, these things are filthy animals. I mean, knock on wood, I have a fairly sealed up house, which I have to go. That's another thing I have to buy. I have to buy, like, this concrete sealant, so that there's even the tiniest cracks, that I could go around all the perimeter of my house and make sure everything is, like, literally hermetically sealed, so nothing can, it's either cement, mortar, or some kind of concrete filler, so nothing can crawl in, be it bug or rodent. It's another thing, out of pocket. I shouldn't have to spend that kind of money, I shouldn't have to spend my entire day. I should be spending my day preparing my garden, not cleaning, like micro cleaning every nook and cranny to looking for a possible hole that a rodent might have dug underneath some kind of bush or, shrub or something. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be having to do that. I blame half this roof problem on the shaking, because I'm sitting in my bedroom and the house is shaking as these coal trucks go up. But the coal trucks have always gone up here. But the road was solid enough that you didn't shake the house. But these guys have opened up the road 3 times because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Gas company follows them. I told you once, or maybe I didn't. I told somebody else. I said I talked to the gas guy, because there was some smells of gas out there, and the gas company was there because a couple of people reported it. I said, "What's going on, man?" He goes, people are smelling gas over by the bus stop, and here's the spot here. And it was like they were over by closer to my house. He goes, everywhere these guys go, referring to the sewer people, right? Water and sewer people. He goes, everywhere they go, we end up having to dig up and follow up because they're, it's causing problems and rattling the gas lines. Well, wait till one of those gas lines blow, man. There's a guy putting out, cones on the road. See? That's what they'll be doing today in front of my house. And I'll have to listen to that noise. Big giant saws the size you can't imagine. A saw as tall as a person almost, right? Sawing open the street, and digging in and doing this stuff. It's like, what are you doing? You already did it 3 times before. Can't you take over winter? Couldn't you have taken all of your employees and had like a 6-week course right? Or had somebody tell you that you're using maybe the wrong pipe sealant or something? Could you have brought in a plumber who could have given you some advice on how to there's no reason to reopen the street. This is the 4th time this is going to be. Here's the kicker, though. According to someone I spoke to, one of the business people, there aren't that many left. They said this street, the Department of Transportation, the highway, this street scheduled this summer, late spring, summer, is scheduled for a new topping. Now, I don't know if you understand what that means, but they have these things these graders, you talk about shaking, it's like an earthquake, because what they do is they dig down. So after all this crap, they shake, rattle, and roll to dig up the old asphalt, whatever the heck it is, right? And then they put down fresh, new, stuff over it and steamroller it and blah, blah, blah. And all I keep thinking is that these guys don't know how to put pipes and seal pipes, because the 4th time they're going to open it up, that when these things come by to shake, rattle, and roll, those pipes are all going to just crack open again. And we'll have a new street for about 2 weeks before there's going to be water main and sewer leaks. Right? And then the release of more rodents just trying to running out of sewers and stuff. I mean, they couldn't have put some kind of pesticide or some kind of deterrent or flush that system and flush those rodents down, to some river, area or something, even in a humane way, before they did this, rather than them start all this activity and they're all escaping up through sewer holes, drainage holes, those little open areas on every block where water goes in, That's where they came from. These things didn't come out of nowhere. I never had them before. Nobody had them before, right? So obviously they came from somewhere. And it just happened since they've been doing this thing. I never had a problem with it. Yeah, it's weird. It's crazy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. So, anyway.
Good morning.
I think that's about it. That's enough of a babble for a day. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Get my clothing line at ROCKFLUX.com. Click on a link and look around. Find a saying and get it. Wear it on a shirt. Do your part. It'll help communicate to people. And as I always say, it's the same thing all the time, but this is the promo. Yeah, I've written 10 books. My last 2 books, Then What and Codex. Then What is my most recent, They're flow of consciousness. Get them in print form. You can buy them on Amazon. There's links on my site, ROCKFLUX. Great solar stuff. You get power backup. I highly recommend it. Do all that stuff, and maybe we'll be back at all this stuff again tomorrow. Who knows? Good luck. Have a great day. Cheers. Happy Cinco de Mayo.